Hey guys, in this video, we are going to look at the newly redesigned App Designer homepage. App Designer is perhaps the most important module in any low-code, no-code platform. Especially with the rise of citizen developer trend, it is important to offer a guided, intuitive experience for app designers, both new and experienced. We started the UX revamp of App Designer in Agile.nx version 8, where we revamped the whole add an app experience, redesigned the look and feel of process designer activities, created new theme for the form designer controls, etc. In Agile.nx version 9, we take this a notch higher by redesigning the App Designer homepage. On the cosmetic side, the new App Designer homepage reflects the new Agile.nx UX theme with a sleek, fresh look. But this isn't just a cosmetic makeover. It brings in enhanced search, improved navigation, quick access to knowledge resources, along with many improvements in the user interface. On the technology side, just like all other modules we have been redesigning since 2020, homepage has been rewritten in React.js framework. In addition, GraphQL has been implemented to speed up the search response. All screens in the module load considerably faster and respond way quicker to user actions and are more secure. Let's look at this in action. Now, I'm on the Agile.nx version 9 homepage, which I showed in the previous video. Now, before we look at the new App Designer homepage, I'm going to take you to the existing App Designer homepage. So if you remember, this is what you see when you click on App Builder. And if you see, it's quite a busy screen over here. One thing which happened is that when people were using traditional BPM platforms, at that time, they used to create up to a dozen applications in a year. With the introduction of low-code, no-code capabilities in these platforms, people started creating anywhere from hundreds to thousand applications easily. A lot of our customers have more than 1,000 applications in their environment. So this section can get quite busy even if you control it with App Permission Framework. So what we did is in V9, if you go to App Builder now, you have a much cleaner interface. So first thing it is telling me is that I was working on a particular application and it tells me that last time you left App Builder, this was the application you were working on. Do you want to go and start working on the same app? So it lets me go to that app directly from here. I can always use some of the shortcuts over here as well. Or if I don't want to show this dialog in future, I can always turn it off. I'm going to say I want to see it next time. Now next what you are going to see is instead of all that cluttered layout, you have a much simpler layout. On the top part of the page, what you see is some quick action buttons. You can click on add an app to run the add an app workflow. So this is pretty similar to what we showed in V8 as well. So when you click on it, it walks you through the wizard driven interface to create an application. I'm going to go back. With data entities, it takes you to the data entity module. With import app option over here, it will let you import app right from the home page itself instead of having to drill down to any other place. If you click on learn more, it provides you learning videos, documentation, and training links. Now the bottom half of the page is where a majority of user experience changes have come into picture. If you see, you now have various filtered tiles which are available. So I can click on recent files to see the recently modified files by me. I can click on recent apps to see the apps which were recently modified by me. Apps I own, if I'm an application owner on any of these applications, I can see the listing of applications. I can see the draft apps. For any of the apps which I have permission to, which are in draft status, I can see the listing over here. Published apps, which I have access to. Process-based apps, so you can directly just say that, okay, show me only process-based apps using this time. Form-based apps, if I wanted to see a listing of only form-based apps, so it provides me a filter for that. And if I wanted to see all apps I have access to within the app permission framework, I can see those as well. Let's start with recent files. If I click on it, there's a much cleaner layout, as you can see, shows me the listing of the files which I have recently modified. There's nice looking big icons for this. Tells me the status that this is currently in a checked in status. I can always check it out as well. It is showing me last date when it was modified, who was the app owner of it. what's the name of the app which this file belongs to, what kind of an app it belongs to. It is a form-based app. I can always click on this link to edit the file as well. So it shows me the listing of recently modified files, as I said, but I can always either go back to the home page from here and click on another tile, for example, say recent apps, to show the listing of all the recent apps over here. As you can see, it has icons which is telling me this is a process-based app, this is a form-based app, right? And it is showing it in a textual way as well. But instead of always having to go back to the home page, I can always click on the filters at the top. I can switch to any of these filters over here. And as you can see, I can say, show me apps I own, or draft apps, or published apps, or all apps. So I can always switch the filters. So if I say, show me all apps, now all the apps are showing. Next, on the sort options, I can always sort things alphabetically based on app name or created date, ascending or descending. So I can say sort based on app name, maybe descending. So if you see now, it is showing up in descending order. Similarly, if I want to go with the grouping options, I can always say group it based on type. So now you can see that these things are now showing up as grouped based on type. So I can see a bucket for process-based apps and a separate bucket for form-based apps. If I said group it based on category, it showed me a grouping based on category. So it shows me that some of the apps I have not categorized, but then here is the list of apps which I have categorized, and I can start using those as well. Now I can always clear my filters. I can reset it using this option. I can also apply categories as well right from here. I can say, here are the apps which have not been categorized before. I can select it and assign a particular category from here. Next, I'm going to actually click on one of these apps, and let's drill down into this section. Now, what you see is now, because I selected an app, only that thing is showing up in the tree view structure over here instead of a whole big list of apps, which looks very cluttered in that case, right? So now it is showing me only the app which I'm currently working on, so I can easily see the structure. I can still drill down into these structures and see various information. But if you see, we have moved from more of a grid-based layout into a card-based layout for as far as the listing is concerned. Now you always have an option if you wanted to switch back to the grid-based layout, you can always do that from here. But card-based layout is the way going forward. It looks a lot more cleaner as well. When you go to a card, you can always view the file, edit a file, rename a file. Now, while in the previous version you had to go into the tree view structure to add files of particular type, we have made it much more easier. So if you see, the menu at the top has been redesigned as well. Most of the options are pretty familiar to you guys already. But if you see, we have brought in add a file type right in the top menu itself. So you can create all of the file types which you usually used to do within the folder structure right at the root level. You can select the app, you can create a connection to document repository, lookup, access token, create new JavaScript style sheet, data sources. You can go on and on, right? So if I click on some of these actions, say for example document repository, it lets me select the document repository type, and rest of the experience is pretty much the same as previously, but it's more easily accessible. Similarly, if I go to process model, lets me add the process model right from here. Similarly, other menu options have changed as well. We have increased the window the size as well so that you can easily work with it. You have all the bigger space to work with. Similarly, if I click on say check-in, it will show me all the checked out files, and if any files have a soft lock, it will show me those as well. All the other menu options are pretty much the same. The icons have been changed, as I said. If you click on say validate, the pop-up dialog styles have been changed as well to be more visually appealing. Similarly, if you see, if I click on publish over here, these dialog styles have been changed as well. This is more of an informational style dialogues, and those have been changed as well. Lastly, you can always click on this back button to go back to the previous filtered list, or you can click on the home button to go back to the home page of the app builder. One more thing I wanted to point out is, in any of these filtered views, you can always use the search option as well. For example, if I start typing the first few characters, it filters down the list over here. That brings us to the end of this video. We hope that this helps improve your overall app designer experience and you will be as excited to use this feature as we are excited to bring it to you. Looking forward to your feedback for any further improvements. Thanks a lot for your time.